want to give time for a slight audience to build. I mean it. I know I've said something would be brief before, and 3 hours later, I've still been talking. That ain't going to happen today. I'm busy, and I hate the lighting in here. It's making the picture really grainy. And, God, I don't want to make stereotypes here. But in this respect, as a woman, I've got a healthy amount of vanity, and the lighting makes me look like crap, and I don't like it. So I don't like my hair. You guys already know that with my into fashion and makeup and stuff. And I'm not feeling well, as some of you know. Again, nothing contagious and nothing that's going to keep me from Reno. Okay. So let's get right to the point. No grifting. None of that. Brief comment on the JC opinions. They came out today. They're public. Shoot me an email. I can send you a copy. I'm sure they're posted somewhere. I don't know. There are 6 separate opinions. I want to briefly just touch on some points. We are going to go over these thoroughly. Once the legitimate boards of Massachusetts second appeal is filed. Because until then, that's my top priority. But there were 2 things in here that were so golden that it couldn't wait. There's some introduction needed. Though she and I have a lot of disagreements, and I have a lot of very negative things to say about her opinion on my appeal. Open. On both Delaware and now Massachusetts, Alicia Matson's been damn near perfect. And despite disagreements, she probably doesn't even know this. She's probably in my top 10 people in this party that I respect. She's one of the smartest people I know, and she is a brilliant writer. Just wanted to say all of that because, I'm really upset with her over the thing with me. I have my own opinions on why she was an utter failure on that opinion, but it doesn't matter. That's over. What matters a couple months ago was Delaware, not me. What matters now is Massachusetts. And I am so impressed by something she wrote in here that, Alicia, good job. But there's one quote that I want to extract out just now from Alicia, and that's it. We'll go over more at a later time. Actually, there might be 2 quotes. Hold on one second, because I did highlight them. I do disagree with her in a little bit on the issue of precedent, but it's not important. This is a long opinion. Oof, I'm on page 10. Hold on. And I've got a lot of things highlighted. Okay. Once I read this, you're going to wonder, well, why then are the purgers still in control? Remember that this appeal was on a very, very narrow issue. And it had to do with whether or not the LNC party's chair was ruling a motion out of order as violating a particular bylaw was justified. And Alicia ruled that the ruling of the chair was not justified. That's all that appeal was directly about. But Alicia issued a lot of background information and her opinion on the underlying issues, even though her opinion on them is not binding or an official ruling in any sense of the word, because that wasn't the issue before the JC. However, so here's her conclusory statement after going through all the facts. Andrew Cordio and the other petition signers were not expelled for cause in accordance with the Llama governing documents, and thus there is no reason for the LNC not to recognize him as the rightful chair. So I know people who are in favor of the purgers, you know, you're all like celebrating over a tie and all of this. Had to do with the ruling of the chair, which Alicia agreed that it was wrong. But ultimately, this is the issue. And you can fool yourselves all you want. Andrew Cordio is the rightful chair. Crap, I didn't. Well, somebody else quoted this. I don't think if I highlighted it, I missed it because, again, I am not completely on my A game. So I am trying to find where somebody else said, oh, you got to read this. Give me 1 second, please. Okay, here's the quote. And this is not a quote in context. It's a rebuke of what the prior state committee did. But, so in context, that's all she was doing. However, it can be applied to a lot more people, particularly the very few people that are running around with Mises Caucus derangement syndrome, acting like what they're doing is somehow like sus or wrong. Now, I've said exactly what Alicia says here, but in like 10 times as many words and not as well. So let me read you what she says. Various members of the Shade Group, which she calls the board at the time of the illegitimate expulsion, have argued the cause for the expulsion was for signing the petition for a special convention, as it was an effort by a caucus within the party to earn leadership seats. Most caucuses in the party desire to elect their caucus members to a majority of seats at various levels of party leadership. And this is nothing new or inherently improper. It is how political movements work. This should be blindingly obvious to everyone. And she said it beautifully. The people who are arguing that there's something, oh my God, wrong here, you are the ones who want a social club, because as Ms. Matson said, it is how political movements work. You either want to do politics or you don't. It is so funny because I've been a member of the Radical Caucus. I've been a member of a lot of minority groups in this party. And I cannot tell you how many times the accusation has been lobbed at me and people who think like me. You just want a tiny little social club. But when finally a group that I agree with gets successful, the truth comes out in the wash. They're doing real political work. The purgers are not. Only one other opinion I wish to read. It's super short. But oh my God. To tell you that I'm impressed by the courage and integrity that this opinion took, I don't think I can adequately do so. I've also disagreed with this person on other things. Hector, I'm not in a mental place to answer that question right now, to be honest with you. I have some health issues going on right now, and all I can concentrate on is Massachusetts, unfortunately. JJ is in chat. I don't know if he can answer that question. Maybe you can direct it through some other internal channels. But I am at the end of my bandwidth, and I have to fulfill my concentration and duty to Massachusetts. Oh, I didn't even see that the question was qualifying for 2 votes. That's how distracted I am. No, you never can get 2 votes. But I think the question underlying that question, JJ, is can he be credentialed as a delegate for 2 states, even though he could only vote in 1? And I'm not sure I know the answer to that question. It would take a lot more thinking than I'm capable of doing right now. Okay, so now this is the concurring opinion with the majority, not the majority, excuse me, the affirmative. It was a tie, there was no majority. Oh, thank you so much, Hector. I really, really appreciate it. This is so concurring with the affirmative opinion of Tom Arnold. I want to read the whole thing. My initial inclination was to that, I think there's a grammar error, who cares, was to that the chair and subsequent LNC board vote was made in good faith, following the bylaws. That meant the ruling of the chair should be upheld. During the course of the JC hearing, arguments made by Mr. Oliver Hall for the LNC seemed to sustain my belief. LNC Chair Whitney Bilyeu then made a statement relating to the danger of turning over the LNC to the Mises Caucus. This led me to believe that her ruling was not made in good faith with the bylaws. It was motivated by a personal political agenda. Wow. Now, I agree with everything he said. Well, no, I don't actually, because I have enough experience with the LNC to not give them the initial presumption of good faith in this. So let's just say he's a good man for giving that initial burden. He doesn't have the same life experiences that I do. But when it comes down to the meat of what his opinion is, that the ruling was not made in good faith. And there's an underlying principle there we're going to suss out that isn't so obvious. But that ruling was not made in good faith. And I do not believe, I don't know all of the votes that sustained it. And some of them might have been at the direction of regional states and regional representatives, in my view, are obligated to vote that way. So let me rule out the regionals for just a second, because I don't remember who the votes were to sustain the ruling, but I don't think the votes to sustain the ruling were in good faith either. I could be wrong, because again, I don't have all the names in front of me. But there was already a very clear Delaware precedent. And as Ms. Matson pointed out, in her ruling, Whitney misrepresented the JC, which seems to be a recurring problem with the LNC. Now, let me be clear. Tom Arnold only addressed that he did not believe the ruling was in good faith. He did not make any comment at all, and none should be imputed to him, about any LNC member that voted to uphold. Let me make that clear. And without seeing the list of names, maybe I should probably qualify my statement and not saying all of the yes votes, but I'm very suspicious. Let me be more circumspect. But in any event, I don't believe the ruling was in good faith. And I believe she violated our policy manual by not disclosing that she was getting benefit. It was just paid travel expenses, but a free trip's a free trip by the other group. Roberts does not require her to recuse herself. Our policy manual requires her to disclose those things. And my memory's not so great right now. I think Roberts does too, doesn't it, as well? If a member has some kind of potential interest to their benefit that they don't share in common with the rest of the board. But I know our policy manual does. So any of y'all who are celebrating that the ruling got upheld, one of the most neutral people in this party saw that the ruling was not in good faith. Now there's an on 18 minutes. Shit, I only wanted this to be like 10 minutes long. I'm going to be done within 5 minutes. The underlying principle here is that the chair of the National Party is acting. It's one thing for me to say it, but this is Libertarian Santa. Okay? Is not acting, at least in this decision, in good faith, but with a political agenda against the Mises Caucus, who has a lot of members in this party. I personally have serious doubts considering this, because this isn't the first time. Remember the New Hampshire disaffiliation vote before she was chair? I can see no reason to disaffiliate New Hampshire, but I can't bring myself to vote no. Then we have an open disclosure of a bias against which maybe more than half of the delegates. Do you think she can impartially and fairly chair this convention? I have doubts. And that's what I'll leave with. I am going to go back to working on the Massachusetts appeal. Let me end this properly and not leave you all on a cliffhanger like before. And this will, I might stream later. Who, knowing me, I might stream 10 times later, but I'm really not planning on it. I need some rest. And there's this weird thing I noticed about Twitch users, and it could be just Twitch culture that I don't understand. That I need to spend more time directly on Twitch rather than this Restream software. But I guess it seems like it's just completely culturally appropriate to flood the comments with things that have absolutely nothing to do with the show. I don't get it, but maybe I'm just too old to get it. All right. Bye.